You know, I started a video as I was coming up to the border thinking there'd be some traffic. There's tons of truck traffic. Not a car in the Nexus line. Not one. So I rushed my video and got it done. I felt like I didn't articulate myself well enough at the end of it. So we went to the vet. I get up this morning, went to the barn, went with all the babies. Man, there's some... I don't want to drop names and put... say, I like this one, I like that, because so much happens between now and then. This is a time of year where we get them gated and get them going. Get them gated, get them going. Within the next 10 days, we'll have them in sets, very, very early, going in sets. Then we'll take a look at the horses. Are they hanging on a line? Are they getting on a shaft? Do we need to get them floor scoped? That's what's step 2 of the process. So I guess no. Step 1 is to break them. Step 2 would be getting them in group. Step 3 would be see if anybody needs any preliminary inspections before we start training as we get into the Christmas time. A ton of questions moving forward in regards to what we're going to do. Every year we have our open house. We get 2 barns. We're going to have 2 open houses. We're going to have 1. We're going to have none. We got to have 1. Jesus, we got to have an open house. So I don't know. We're going to work on that this week. What we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. We're going to work on all that this week. But for right now, I'm going to leave it as a question mark because I don't know. So I get up this morning, went with the babies. They all went good. A couple of them being a little stubborn. The fillies, the 2 green shoe fillies, were good today, but both of them a little stubborn with turning. That comes with the territory. We haven't got their wolf teeth out yet. Obviously, we've only had them back to the barn 3-4 days. The horse that has surprised me, I guess, the most, the big colt, he's teetering on opening fire. The Captain Crunch colt, he very, very nice colt, but he looks to me like he can, as I said, open fire at any minute, start kicking. But he's just big, strong, proud-looking bugger. And as he starts to understand his work, we'll come to an agreement. We'll come to an agreement. But man, he looked good today again. The horse that really, though, truthfully, I'm trying to think of all of them in my head right now, caught my eye the most. At least when I tried it, when I thought about talking about this, the first horse that came to my mind was the one that has caught my eye. Jade Port, Beach Boy. Looks very good on the track and has done everything right. But he's done it in a way where you can see he's like the other colt. He's a little wired. Like if a bird happened to fly across in front of him, he might just destroy everything. He's got that way about him, and he looks very, very good. So I would say, yeah, if you were to put me on the spot and say, who broke the best, who has caught your eye, and maybe a little surprising too. And not surprising because he's, 8 months from racing and he's bred very well. He's Century Pharaoh's brother. He's supposed to be a nice horse, but he wasn't a really expensive horse, right? $33,000, right in our meaty part of the order. Man, he looks good. He looks really, really nice. And as I said, the Captain Crunch colt looks good. On the trotting side, who's looked the best? International Spy. He looks like a monster. And he is a bad bugger too. I hope I don't have to geld him, but man, he's noisy. But on the track he behaves. He went to kick at me yesterday. He didn't quite follow through. He threatened to. But he didn't. But he looks very, very nice on the track. Really, everybody is doing their work. Well, they've been going 2-3 days. They're all doing their work very, very well. But those are some of the horses that have really caught my eye quickly. What else we got going on? So I went with the babies today. I was happy with them. I trained a Galarian. She was actually better. I've seen this movie before, though. I'm not getting too high on her. She was better the way we have her shod today. Now, I would school her Friday, but today's Tuesday. We trained her Saturday, trained her back Tuesday after we shot her yesterday in the race bike. So that's 2 trips in the race bike. Maybe we could take her down and just school her off the gate, just go a quarter of a mile, but that's an awful lot of work for her. Even for as angry as I am, that's a lot of work for her, especially if we plan on racing her. I might just put her in to go. Monday. Just dare her. I dare you to make a break. You make a break, I'm going to pull the harness off you and you'll be bred. But I don't want to waste that start either. I'm going to have to think on this. I'm going to talk to Dominic and think about it. What else? She trained well. I trained a couple of 3-year-olds together. They went well. And then, obviously, we sent the horse to the vet, right? We sent 3 horses to the vet. Resolute Bay. Now, I told everybody that would be up to Harry and James. James said he was loaded. He was great, just on the left line, and kind of lost himself as he was trying to drag him back to the inside. That was evident. Everything he said was pretty clear in the video, right? Now, why he didn't come first over, that was not clear in the video. I did not cross-examine his testimony of last night at all. I didn't want to start a family feud. He said, and in fairness, in the past, he's been correct. That horse, when you move him in the last turn, he'll hang. Come on down the lane, but hang in the last turn. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That's fine. Because he said he knew everything would open up. Renegade Gypsy drifts a bit. The kid in the 2-hole popping out only made his case stronger. He said, I knew there would be room, and there was. There was more than enough room. He just couldn't get him down in there. So we sent him to the vet today. Left hind ankle. This is all maintenance stuff. There was nothing serious found. They did his knees, his lower hocks. The left hind ankle was biting him a little bit. Now that would put you on the left line pretty good. So everything I heard from the vet made sense also. So he's all patched up. And I have to reiterate to everybody. I was like, let's rest them. We got that graduate in April and March. It's awesome. You get the graduate series. So I guess we have the best 4-year-olds in Ontario. No other 4-year-olds will apply for this particular race. No horses that were racing in the gold or were very good horses also. There's no gimmies. There's no, they have this race. They're probably just going to print us the check and we'll just have to show up, I guess. Is what we'll do. It doesn't work that way. There's no gimmies. When I say strike when the iron's hot, we're in a class where Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy, now I do not want to continue to race them together. One was like 3-1. The other one was 2-1 last night. They're in a good class. I don't think Renegade Gypsy's a type to go middle half slow and then sprint 27 on the end of it. He's turned into being a rough, tough fella. He wants to get in a brawl, right? He wants to get in those brawls, and he's not quite as good on the front. You can race him on the front now and again, but not quite as good on the front end. And I think that's the thing. And he said he was on the left line a little bit too. Now, we didn't have him up to the vet today. Angelica can look at him this week because I did not have the same conversation I had with Mario. This is a merge lane, so you need to merge. That's the biggest thing. Got the Ontario plates. Nobody can get angry at me. And it wasn't my fault. It was the Ford in front of me. So yeah, Harry and I had a pretty good conversation about it this morning, and that was after I had talked to James a little bit about the red colt. Renegade Gypsy, I had not talked to Mario, although Mario said the same thing. He's not quite as good on the front. He was on that left line. He was a little bit flat. And it's the same thing. I said, if you want to turn him out, we can turn him out. I just need everybody to understand the playing field as we approach the time to either turn them out or continue. There's no gimmies when you come back. I said this before. You're going to have to work hard and race against tough horses, regardless of when you do it. My thinking is, make hay when the sun shines. We can turn him out if he's tired, and then what happens when he comes back, happens. But I don't want to leave money on the table this year that we could have put on his card, just because, let's just turn him out and he'll come back and everything will be great. It doesn't work that way, ever. Didn't work that way for Locatelli. Didn't work that way for anybody we turned out last year. They had to come back, they had to work hard. And there was no gimmies, and they did not lay over them. And by the way, we gave Locatelli 2.5 months off last year. It's November, and he's now just starting to find his true rhythm. Keep that in mind also. So Resolute Bay, all is good. Knees, lower hocks, left hind ankle should be fine. Renegade Gypsy, I'm sure Mario will have Angelica go over Renegade Gypsy, and that'll be that. Now, the other horse that went looks like money. The new horse that we bought, just wanted to get him checked. An old curb right hind. She didn't think it needed to be crowd. Dr. McKee said, I wouldn't worry about that. Just paint it and stay on top of it. His knees were a little tight. We did his knees. I hope he didn't think we were getting out of that vet clinic with some sort of charge. His lower knees were a little tight. So she injected his lower knees. He'll probably school next Friday and then off to the races with him. And then how the hell? We got some closure. Understand what's going on with him now. Now, when we x-rayed his knees a little over a month ago, there was nothing found. There was today. Lines, a few little lines in one knee, a couple little floaties in the other knee. Calcium deposits. Chips. So the knee that had a couple little chips, that third carpal was intact. Some just rattled off. The left knee had a few little lines in it. Melissa said a horse that is good as him, that's racing as good as him and clearly as tough as him, she recommends a month in the stall, 2 months in the field. She goes, now, this is important. She goes, if you get his knee operated on and take those floaties out of that right knee, prognosis goes up for him to come back a very, very good racehorse, which he should anyway. And she goes, he goes way up, plus the downtime for that operation on his knee would be 1 month in the stall, 2 months in the field. She goes, you have better prognosis and you have the same timeline to give him time off. She goes, I'm just telling you what I would give him for him to come back good. He's going to come back better almost for certain if you take those 2 little chips out, let those lines heal in. She goes, that is almost certainly the flashpoint of his discomfort, his soreness. She goes, the fact that the horse has already raced and won like this multiple times leads me to believe that he will come back, he will be fine, and he'll only be better if you take them out. So she said it's like $2,000 or something, maybe $2,300, whatever it is, to take out those 2 chips, get those out of the way, stand them for a month, turn them out for 2 months, bring them back end of February. You start to, February-ish, you start to get those corks off. She goes, everything points to it being a very good situation for How the Hell. I agree. Wholeheartedly, 100% across the board. Remember, before we went to the vet, we had 3 paths. Get him out of Ontario. Now, this was assuming that we didn't find anything problematic, which we did. Get him out of Ontario, sound him up and race him, or turn him out. Those were always our 3 paths. Now that we have a couple little chips and a couple little lines in one knee, 2 of those paths are gone. Can't get him out of Ontario, it means nothing. You can't race the horse like that. Can't sound him up enough to race him, nor would I. Keep in mind, this horse got, 15, 16 starts life? Already trotted 54, and has never been super sound. Now we can get him sound. Time off should bring him back sound. Closure. And a fix. So, I don't even know if it would have been better if she said I can't find anything. I don't know if that would have been better. Because clearly, what we see, you can see there's something wrong with the horse. There's no 2 ways about that. So I'm glad we found out what it was. And I would much, much rather take a couple little chips out than hear her say, got a 20% tear in a suspensory here. That would be crushing. So, it's not the worst news. Sure, anytime you get a stop with a horse, you got to take it's bad news, I suppose. But on the spectrum of bad news, it's somewhere near the top. So closure and a clear path now for How the Hell. We will operate. Take those 2 little chips out, stand them in the stall for 30 days, out to the field for 60 days. Take our time, bring them back. When we start back with them, the corks will now be off. All will be good with How the Hell. So, great news on Looks Like Money, nothing there, so that's awesome. And Resolute Bay is clean bill of health and ready to rock. So, could have been a much worse day. I'll give you guys a little update maybe after the races, maybe not, depending on how late I'm in.